Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the fourth and final week of exploring emotions, understanding, expressing, and managing your feelings. I am Miranda Nider. I am a supervised clinician here at Blueby Counseling, and this week we're going to be focusing on managing emotions in challenging situations. Okay, so we're starting off with what is emotional intelligence. We've talked about this a little bit each week. But emotional intelligence refers to the ability to understand, manage, and express one one's own emotions, as well as perceive and respond appropriately to the emotions of others. Essentially, it's a skill of being aware and effectively handling your own feelings and the feelings of those around you. Some key components of emotional intelligence include self-awareness, self regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. So, with self awareness, recognizing and understanding your own emotions, your strengths, and weaknesses. With self regulation, it's managing your emotions and impulses in a healthy way. Social awareness, perceiving and understanding the emotions of others, including empathy. Um, and then relationship management. So, using emotional intelligence to build and maintain positive relationships. Okay, so the five components of emotional regulation are create space, notice what you're feeling, naming what you feel, accepting the emotion, and practicing mindfulness. So, with creating space, emotions happen fast. We don't think, now I will be angry. We are just suddenly clenching our jaw, we're furious. So, the number one skill in regulating difficult emotions is 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 a way we can do is kind of just giving a gift to ourselves, and that is taking a pause, take a break, slow down the moment between the trigger and the response, create that space between it. Number two is noticing what you're feeling. An equal important skill involves the ability to become aware of what you're feeling, become curious about your own physical reactions, and turn it to yourself. Consider in what parts of your body are you noticing these different sensations. Is your stomach upset? Is your heart racing? Do you feel some tension in your neck, in your head, in your shoulders? Your physical symptoms can be a clue to what you're experiencing emotionally. Um, and when you focus on this, you're able to kind of distinguish and distract your focus to allow um, some trying to find the best word for this, some intensity of the emotion to go away, to let that intensity kind of decrease, to settle. But as you become aware of what you're feeling, what's kind of going on with your body, you're able to find out, okay, what do you need to do? And with this, when you're able to kind of figure out what you're able to feel, you're able to kind of name what you're feeling. That goes into the third. So, naming your emotion can help you gain control over your emotion. So, after um, kind of deciding or naming how you're feeling, you can identify the specific emotions such as anger, sadness, or fear. Since emotions can be complex, don't hesitate to recognize multiple feelings at once, like we've talked about this past few weeks. You can feel so many different emotions at once, and that's totally normal. And that's what a lot of us experience a lot of the time, is that we don't feel just one emotion, we feel multiple emotions. Um, and so as you do this, you dig a little bit deeper into the emotion, like fear or anger, and it can reveal their underlying causes. By naming the emotion, you can better understand them, and you can work towards expressing them to others in a very healthy and very regulatory way. And then we have accepting the emotion. So emotions are a normal and natural part of how we respond to situations. Rather than being upset with yourself for feeling angry or scared, recognize that the emotional regulation and the emotional reaction, um, is valid and it's normal. Try to practice self compassion and give yourself some grace. It is okay for you to feel angry. It is okay for you to feel frustrated or to be afraid or to feel whatever you're feeling. What you need to focus on is how you're going to express it, how you're going to let it come out. Are you going to let it take control of you? Are you going to let it to kind of run your life, or are you going to be able to manage it and focus on how you can express it in a healthy and okay way? um, and recognize that experiencing emotions is a normal human reaction and response and experience. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some self-compassion with that. And then last is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us live in the moment by paying attention to what is inside us. Um, Use your senses to notice what is happening around you in a non judgmental way. These skills can help you stay calm, avoid engaging in negative thought patterns, and when you, and this is especially when you are in the midst of the emotional pain. Okay, and then empathy and communication. So, with empathy and healthy communication, um, this can help reduce hostility. It helps promote creative problem solving. It helps even just enhance that communication. And then it helps to build and strengthen relationships. So, with reducing hostility, when individuals demonstrate empathy, they are more likely to approach conflicts with understanding and with less aggression, um, thus de escalating the tension. So, it reduces that hostility just from having a more empathetic approach to it. That this person that you may be having this conflict with, they're not going to feel that you are going to feed into that conflict, but that you are there to be a healthy participant in helping resolve that conflict. Promoting creative problem solving. When parties involved in the conflict empathize with each other and each other's perspectives, they're more likely to brainstorm solutions collaboratively. So you're able to kind of take pieces from each other of, okay, what do you think is going to work best to resolve this conflict? What do you have to bring to the table? What do I have to bring to the table? And can we combine it? Or is one just better than the other? But if you have some empathy, if you have that just openness, you're okay with not having to be the one to be right, but you can have it be more collaborative. Or if you see that their problem solving technique is better, you can use theirs and it's going to be okay. And then enhances communication. Empathy fosters open and honest communication by creating a safe space for individuals to express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. And then build and strengthens relationships. Empathy helps build trust and respect between individuals, fostering stronger and more resilient relationships. And this goes with any type of relationship. It goes with friendship, it goes with family, it goes with your spouse or your partner. People that you really want to have that good, solid relationship with and to feel safe with. These skills of empathy and communication can really help. And going into that, I want to talk about developing communication skills. What does healthy communication look like? What goes into healthy communication? So, communication looks like active listening, clarifying and consensus, nonverbal communication, empathy, feedback, questioning or clarification, adaptability, and confidence. So, with active listening, you want to focus on the speaker. Pay attention to what they're saying without distractions. Acknowledge the message, nodding or using a brief verbal cues. Say, I see, or interesting, or mm-hmm. or okay. And then this shows that you're engaged. And then avoid interrupting. Let the speaker finish before responding. And as you're active listening, don't just think, okay, what am I going to say next? What am I going to respond? Because then you start thinking of what am I going to do instead of what the person is saying. And then you're going to miss something. And then it's going to come out in what you say next that they're going to see that you weren't listening or that you missed maybe something crucial. And that can deter the whole conversation. And then clarity and consensus. So you want to be clear, you want to be straightforward, you want to avoid using unnecessary jargon or complex language. You really want to cater this to your audience. Who are you talking to? If you're talking to a kid, you're not going to use all these really big words. Or if you're talking to someone not in your profession, you're not going to use words that are so specific to your profession that they won't know. So make sure that you clarify if you're using something that you need to use that specific language for, but if you know they won't understand or if you think they won't understand, just throw in a simple definition or a simple example of it. And then stick to the point, keep your message brief and to the point to avoid some confusion. And then nonverbal communication. So body language is huge. Use gestures, use facial expressions, use posture to reinforce what you're saying. Or if you're the listener, you want to look engaged. You don't want to be slumped in your chair, just kind of looking around like, oh, when are they going to finish? You want to be sitting up. You want to be looking at them. You want to maintain that eye contact or even just looking at them if they're not looking at you, but to show that you're engaged, that you're focused, or vice versa. If you're the one speaking, that you are looking at the person that you're speaking to. So they know I'm speaking to you. You can use some body language, some hand gestures, kind of like what I'm doing now. Um, and then also your tone of voice, make sure it matches your message. If you're talking about something sad, make it match. If you're talking about something happy, make it match. If you're talking about something that you're passionate with, like what I'm doing now, I'm showing through my tone that this is something I'm passionate about, that this is something that I really believe in and that I think is so important. And then we have empathy again. So understand what others are feeling. Show empathy by recognizing others' emotions and responding appropriately. If someone is saying something is so hard, don't go straight into fix it mode unless that's what they want. But you want to make sure that you're empathizing with them. It's hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. And then just keep an open mind. Respect different perspectives and different viewpoints. No one's going to think exactly like you. That's not fun in life. And so you want to make sure that you are empathizing with them and that you are really trying to see their perspective, their viewpoint, how they are feeling. And then feedback, constructive feedback. So offer suggestions in a positive and helpful manner, not in a critical or hurtful way. Don't criticize what they're doing. Don't put them down, but help build them up. Help maybe offer suggestions. With this, if someone is just wanting to vent to you, though, it's very important to kind of check in with them. What are you wanting from this conversation? Are you wanting me to just listen? Are you wanting me to fix it? Or are you wanting me to help you kind of brainstorm and work your way through this? Just to see where they're at. Because if they are not wanting to listen to some constructive feedback in this moment, that's not going to be helpful and can deter that conversation as well. And then questioning and clarification. So ask questions, clarify any doubts, and ensure your understanding. Paraphrase or summarize. Restate what you've heard to confirm the message. So if you're the person that's listening, make sure that you are understanding by asking some questions of if you didn't understand something, or if you're pretty sure this is what they meant, you restate that back to them and they'll confirm or deny if that is what they really meant. And that way you're able to, again, just see their viewpoint and to really be able to actively listen and to have that connection. Because when they feel and see and hear that you are actually listening to them, that changes the game so much. And they realize, oh, what I say is important. This person is listening to me. They heard what I said, or they misunderstood, but they're asking me for clarification. So they really do care about what I have to say. And then confidence. Speak with confidence, present your ideas with assurance, but avoid being arrogant. Avoid filler words such as like, to sound more confident and clear. And this is something a lot of us can struggle with. Seems to be a part of our vocabulary very strongly. I bet you've noticed that I say a lot. It's just a moment for me to kind of think. But it's a very vocal moment of me thinking. So as you're able to go through these different skills and work on them, you're able to be a good communicator, well, whether that be be the listener or you be the one that's actually talking in that moment. Okay, and then managing conflict. So there's the 3 R's: we recognize, we respond, and we resolve. So recognize involves acknowledging a conflict that exists, identifying the root of the cause, understanding who's involved, and assessing its potential impact. And then respond to respond to conflict. Stay calm and composed. Listen actively to understand all perspectives. Express your thoughts clearly and respectfully. Seek common ground and work towards a solution through collaborative and compromising. Avoid escalating the situation with blame or aggression. So, with this response, it ties back into the emotions. We want to be able to manage those emotions while we respond to this conflict. We're not going to be super reactive. We're going to react in a very appropriate manner. We're going to be able to manage those emotions, to calm them down, and to respectfully and appropriately communicate. So we're going to use those communication skills, and we're going to use those managing emotional skills as well. And this goes into the resolve. So the final step involves finding a solution that addresses the root cause of the conflict and meets the needs of all parties, if possible. Sometimes it's not going to be quite possible, but as long as you're meeting the needs of the majority and everyone's agreeing, that's the best way to resolve the conflict. And then using techniques like negotiation, mediation, or other conflict resolutions. And this goes into negotiation and compromise techniques. So negotiation, this process involves parties engaging and in a discussion and exploration to reach a mutually agreeable solution. It requires open communication, active listening, and a willingness to consider different viewpoints. Negotiation can consist of being prepared, consider alternatives, be clear, be empathetic, be flexible, be objective, actively listen, and manage your emotions. Um, Negotiation is kind of a give and take. You got to be able to um, be okay with maybe your solution is not the best, and maybe part of your solution is good and part of another solution is good. You're able to negotiate on, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to take this, we're going to take this, and find a way to merge it all together into a way that all parties are engaged. All parties have agreed on this solution to this conflict. And then compromise. This refers to the act of making concessions or adjustments to reach a middle ground that satisfies both parties involved. It requires a willingness to give up some desires to achieve a shared outcome. Compromise can consist of finding a win-win solution, finding common ground, give and take, setting priorities, and brainstorming solutions. So what is most important to you? What is most important to them? And what can we kind of give and take to come up with a solution that fits both of our needs? What's the win-win? And then make sure you're setting the stage for a good brainstorming, that you're all spitting out ideas. And if you don't have any ideas that are being taken, learning to be okay with that, learning to kind of pick battles in a way, but finding a way that, okay, this might not have been my personal solution, but I do like this solution as well. And then we have emotions and disputes and conflict. So we have anger and frustration. We have fear and anxiety. We have sadness and hurt, resentment and betrayal even. So with anger and frustration, these are typical These are typically like an initial response to conflict. They often drive by a sense of unfairness or not being heard. Anger may express itself as aggression, while frustration can lead to feelings of helplessness or being stuck. And aggression doesn't have to be, anger does not have to be shown through aggression physically. It can be shown through aggression vocally. And that is just as bad. We don't want to have that turn and kind of fuel the fire of this conflict. And then we have fear and anxiety as conflicts escalate or involve, um, or those involved perceive some threats. Fear and anxiety may surface. These emotions are often caused by uncertainty about the outcome or a sense of being overwhelmed by the situation. And then sadness and hurt. Conflicts often bring about emotional pain or disappointment, leading to feelings of sadness, loneliness, or betrayal. These emotions are especially intense when relationships are damaged or severed. And then resentment and betrayal. Feelings of resentment and betrayal emerge when individuals feel wronged or mistreated. These emotions can persist and deeply affect future interactions. So, with all of these different emotions that we feel, kind of goes back to recognizing the conflict. We're recognizing what the conflict is, but we're also recognizing how we feel about this conflict or how it's making us feel. And then it goes into the manage the emotions and understanding, okay, if I let this emotion get away from me, it can fuel the fire and it can make this conflict so much worse. And then it can increase how these emotions are feeling, and it's just a vicious cycle that can go. But with these emotions, as we recognize these emotions in the conflict, you can even state, this is how I'm feeling about this. It goes back to that communication. These are all so intertwined, but we communicate, this is how I'm feeling, this is the emotion I'm feeling and what it's kind of doing to my body right now. And this conflict is what's causing it. And then you can go into that. Um, let's see, I'm going to go back here. Go back into that responding. So, how are we going to respond to that? And how are we going to manage these emotions? And then we go into that resolve of, I don't want to feel this emotion anymore. And then it goes into these tactics of, okay, negotiation, compromise. What is your priority? Is your priority not feeling what you're feeling? Is it not feeling that negative emotion of, I don't want to feel anger right now, and that is my priority? And then you can brainstorm to see, okay, what's going to help decrease that anger? Even if it's just lessening it a little bit, it's something to give you some more resolve in that emotion that you don't want to be feeling, and that's very negative to you. And that also goes into, like I said, the managing your emotions. You want to use some coping techniques. You want to use maybe some grounding, some relaxation, or some self-soothing techniques as well. Okay, the exercise for this week, I want you to practice empathetic listening with a partner or a group. And then I want you to take an emotional intelligence quiz and reflect on areas for improvement. You can find these all over Google for free. Just type in emotional intelligence quiz for free and some will pop up. And this can show you, okay, what do I need to work on? What can I improve? Or even take a self-reflection. I want you to take a self-reflection on, what skills do I need to improve? So here you go. Do you need to work on self-awareness? Do you need to work on self-regulation, social awareness, or relationship management? What area needs that improvement? And I want you to be very honest with yourself. And it could be even the smallest improvement. But no one is going to be 100% perfect at these things. Not anyone, not even a therapist. Because in the moment we can forget. But it's that acceptance and that self-compassion with yourself of, I think I need to work on that, and that's okay. And as you work on it, you can improve, yourself, but you can also improve the relationships around you, and you can improve your emotional state and your emotional well-being. Okay, but that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this 4-week course of being able to explore your emotions, working on managing them, finding some techniques on coping and self-soothing. So these are my references, and thank you so much.